Well, let me tell you something. The early part of this century, Virginia Tech was running the show. I mean,
No doubt.
no disrespect.
Nah, they were.
Bobby Bowden had it going on. He joined the league, and then all of a sudden, turn of the century, it was all about Frank Beamer and the Hokies just saying, guess what, ACC, get on my back, let's go.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. I mean, being from where I was from in the 757, everybody wanted to go to Virginia Tech, genuinely. So you guys were it. Try to get back there.
How do we get guys to want it? That's got to be the thing. How do we get that back?
I've never heard that. We're getting it back. We're getting it back. Eddie's holding us to a high standard.
Whit Babcock joins us. All right, we got a lot to get into. Before we go Hokie high, let's go backwards a little bit. We just had the commissioner on. A really kind of a historic day for the Atlantic Coast Conference this morning.
Yeah, a really big day. There's a little something for everybody, you know, for the schools that wanted strength in numbers, that's there. For the academic level, that's there. And then for the schools, which is all of us, from a revenue standpoint, a chance to close that gap. It was a great day, and I really commend the commissioner, the president. It was a really thorough process. The data they shared from travel to financials, it was incredibly well done, and really proud to be a part of it and have it over the hump.
And again, from afar, it felt like it had crazy momentum swings. I mean, sometimes when you have a front row seat, maybe it doesn't feel that way, but like from our perspective, covering it for the last God knows how long, there were times you're like, well, there's no way that's going to happen. And then you got, well, maybe there's some life here. So I'm sure the ebb and flow of a deal like this had to be crazy.
Yeah, it did, or it was, and again, the presidents are in the room the final time, but the commissioner did a great job with us. And then, again, the compromise to something for everybody, depending on what you were looking for. I thought he threaded the needle really well, and yeah, we welcome them in, ready to go.
When you have those types of conversations, because you have to have everyone vote. 15 teams voted. I know 12 is what got this passed. What are those conversations like? Because I'm assuming it's a Zoom, but I mean, everybody has a chance to speak on the floor, or is it back and forth? Or?
Yeah, it is that. And again, Commissioner Phillips, the thoroughness, the process, everybody having input. We all know the presidents have it at the end, but everybody had a chance to vet it, say what they wanted to say. And I thought he was incredibly professional and managed it really well. And now they are us, and we want to welcome them in. And again, I think the travel, when we saw that, could be reasonable. The financials were good, and yeah, something for everybody. I thought he did a great job with the compromise there.
I want to talk a little football. Talk about Lane Stadium.
That's right, man.
Describe that atmosphere, what it's going to be like for somebody who's never been to a night game in Lane Stadium.
Yeah, well, you know better than anybody. But we take a lot of pride in it. We have a tremendous fan base, you know that. The student section is full an hour before the game. Our fans come to participate, not just spectate. And we don't take that for granted. All we want to do is reward them by getting this thing back where it should be. If you look at the ACC championships, if you look at the NFL draft picks, we're right there. And this is too good of a place to be where we were. And Coach Pry's leading us back, and tomorrow night will be a first step in that direction. But Lane Stadium night game, it's awesome. Can't wait.
Well, what have been the big jumps in this program since Coach Pry has taken over?
Yeah, you know, there's facilities, there's revenue, all of that, but it's really about the people. I believe I know Coach has an appreciation for this place. He has exceeded mine and our expectations on every level. The recruiting has been fabulous, and really that was part of the reason, not just his tie to Tech and defensive mindset, but Penn State is a recruiting machine, and they were getting, in my opinion, too many great players out of this state, and we wanted to borrow that, and they really get after it, really thrilled with the recruiting class. I also think Coach Pry showed us a lot last year in the team, right? When you only win 3 games, you got a new coach that didn't recruit any of the players. We didn't have a mass exodus. They played hard through the end of the season. And we have a saying here that, you know, you learn the most about a coach during tough times and losing times, and there were no cracks in the foundation, and his energy is infectious. You guys will see if you haven't talked to him already, but really pleased with it. Want to make noticeable progress this year, and if you do that every year on top of the other, then we're back to the Eddie Royal era and hopefully exceed that. And we want nothing better, nothing more than that, and again, reward the fan base, help the ACC out too, right? We need football strength, and we see that as our role, and that's what we focus on every day.
Sometimes you need to look backwards, even inward with your own program. When we were here for the camp tour, I had a chance to interview Coach Pry and Frank Beamer together. And we talked a lot about Frank, given his ties here and how much he meant to Virginia Tech, but he struggled his first 5 or 6 years. And, that the whole thing about being patient, and, this conference has probably the best examples of coaches that have turned into be all-time greats who really got off the lousy starts. Yeah. Frank Beamer's being one of them. And he talked about the fact that, hey, you got to have leadership, people that understand it, people be patient, you do the right thing, you put in the work, good things eventually happen.
Yeah, that's right. It never happens fast enough. But there is truth in taking no shortcuts. And again, hopefully it won't be a long haul as long as Coach Beamer. But yes, if you do it right and you build it right, it doesn't always happen overnight. It is a little easier with the transfer portal. And we do have a number of new players and feel like our roster is stronger, and look forward to doing that every year. And yeah, just win, baby.
You talk about the portal, and it's helped this team out a lot. I mean, we've added some impact guys, and they're going to help us out. We're going to see that tomorrow night. But there's a situation in UNC that's going on with Tez Walker, and he may not be able to play. We don't know. It's up in the air. It's too many things like that that's happening with kids that get lost in the portal. How do you fix that problem?
Yeah, I don't know if you fix how to fix it. But what we found is that even in the NIL era and the portal era, young people still want to have a reason to come to your school. The coach that recruited them is still the primary factor for them coming in here. You have to re-recruit your roster every year, and then selective recruiting out of the portal to fill spots. And again, I thought Coach Pry has nailed it. We'll see some of those difference makers and build it with high school young people, a little bit of transfers, and but there still has to be a tie to the school, because sometimes when things get tough, it's too easy to leave if you don't love the school. And fortunately, we got a campus like Virginia Tech and the strong sense of place, history, and again, Coach has done a great job with that. But we're proud of Virginia Tech, and I think our young people like being here. Hopefully you had a good time.
I did. That's why I keep coming back. That's why I keep coming back.
I know, I see him. I'm like, man, we have got to step it up. This guy's patience is running out with us, but we're on the right track.
Well, I'm from Virginia, so I know how big it is for Virginia Tech and ODU to play each other. And I actually remember when ODU's football program started, I think back in 2007, 2008. How big is this game tomorrow night? Because I think nationwide it may not get a lot of pub, but this is a big game for the Hokies.
It is a big game. It's the first one, right? You always want to start out 1-0, but getting that momentum going, and again, rewarding that crowd. The schedule, not that ODU is easy, but gets tougher as we go along, and you always want to set the tone, get out there just like a number of ACC schools did last night. But packed house, y'all having us on TV, we love that. It is a big game. Big game for us.
Before we let you go, I always got to ask, facility upgrades. Everybody's building something. I don't go to a college campus without seeing a crane somewhere, which tells me business is actually pretty good. I know it never ends.
Yeah, we have, we're proud of that. We've renovated every square foot and expanded our football facility, the position meeting rooms, the auditorium, the weight room, the players' lounge, the recruiting center. We've added a $110 million residence hall where all the players have their own room. That wouldn't have been too bad. And a $20 million nutrition center. Facilities are important. They always are. But in the era of NIL, it might slow that arms race down a little bit. You know, NFL indoor practice facilities are not as nice as we have. And as this industry or profession gets a little more professional, I wonder if that arms race will slow down a little bit. But you still need to have it to show that there's a commitment and that football is important here, and we're pleased with the progress, and you never stop.
Well, you got that right. Listen, it's always a pleasure having you on, and the hospitality here is great. Again, being married to a Hokie and now having to put up with Eddie Roy when we get here, it's a double dose, but it's always a great spot for college football. There's
Thank you. It means a lot for y'all to be here. It's prime time. Y'all are pros, and we can't wait to get going. Thanks for having me.